good evening guys. Delia from Plant-Based Potential, and I am doing tip 2 on my 10-week tips for you guys on a better lifestyle and diet. So I just wanted to get started with this kale pesto recipe that I have. I have all of my ingredients together over here, and so I'm gonna get started. Let's set it up so you guys can see a little bit better. And okay. Perfect. All right, guys. So for the kale pesto, I have my machine over here. I've already pre-prepped this kale, but I kind of wanted to show you guys a little trick since I have you here about how fast you can get these stalks off. So, boom. And my dogs love to eat them. So I'll make a salad with the rest of this kale. But for now, we have 2 cups of kale for the pesto, and I'm gonna add it to my food processor. All right. I also have a cup of walnuts. I did soak them for a little bit, maybe only like 15 minutes or so, because it helps soften them up a little bit. You don't have to do that though. So walnuts, and then I always end up using this stuff, and I keep telling you guys to get this in your pantry, but nutritional yeast. So it calls for a half a cup of that. Okay. Calls for a half of a cup of parsley. So I got some fresh parsley over here. I de-stemmed it. So add that. Okay, and then it calls for a tablespoon of salt. I got some pink Himalayan salt. Okay, and then I'm gonna just set this up on my machine over here for now. Okay, anyway, we'll get that in a second. So now, some cool tricks over here with the garlic. Okay. So pop it out of its shell. Oh, there's a little baby. Slips right out. Okay. And so obviously 2 cloves of garlic. And then I'm gonna just smash them up a little bit. All right, so 2 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna add these to my food processor. And then calls for some fresh lemon juice. So I've already softened this up a bit. And I just bought this awesome thing. I love it. Get the most out of my juice, and I don't have to worry about the seeds. All right. so this guy calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So, let's see if I can get this out of here. 1, 2. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, so we don't add the oil yet until the end. It calls for about a half a cup, but we're gonna add it after it's been ground up a little and then slowly drizzle it in. Okay. All right, for the blending process. Okay. This is a new machine, so it's exciting. It works really good. Sorry, guys. I had an incoming call there for a minute. I'll have to give them a call back, Susan. All right. Maybe it's locked on that way. Real smart, huh? There we go. So I'm gonna start to add some in. It seems like a lot, but this is gonna go in a whole pasta dish, so not gonna all be eaten in one sitting. Okay, awesome. And so sometimes you're gonna have to periodically scrape this stuff down off the sides too. Add a little more oil. And it's starting to become more like a pesto consistency. I think even if you had like a little small blender, it would work just as well, maybe even better. Adding the rest. Okay, awesome. So let me scoop some of this out for you so you can see it. All right, guys. So here's our pesto. And it's kind of bad lighting, but yeah. So I'm gonna end up putting this into my pasta. I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing that go down, but I'm gonna bring it to you anyways. So I got my noodles already cooked. And get my pesto into the pasta. I actually have some broccoli in the oven baking that I'm going to put in here too. All right. All right, so anyway, while I'm doing this, I can get into my tip number 2. So my tip number 2 for you guys is becoming aware. And becoming aware means that you need to start documenting what you're doing, basically, because the best way to become conscious of your eating habits is to recognize them. So I've made a worksheet that if anybody's interested in having it, I can email it to you. But basically, it gives you an outline of some things to look for. So, you know, some things to question. How do you feel when you're hungry? How do you feel when you're full? Okay, and then you need to learn how to honor those feelings. So, you know, instead of being that person who's always on the go, go, go and has to get food while they're out and about, working, driving, you know, doing whatever, it's too busy. You need to take a moment and take a step back and, you know, see when you're eating and how you're eating, because stress is a huge factor in how we digest things too. So an eating log would be a great start. With that log, you can also notate things like how you're feeling before you eat. Are you bored? Did you get upset about something? A lot of times people have it ingrained in them that they have to finish everything on their plate, because that's how a lot of us grew up. We grew up, you know, don't waste the food. Eat all the food on your plate. So we kind of have to break those habits and see when they occur. That way we can make changes to them, essentially. So that is what I would suggest for starters. Plus, once you see the reasons why you go to food, whether if you're hungry or if you're bored or if you're, you know, mindlessly doing it just while you're watching TV, then you can become more able to change those habits. So, you know, one thing I remember for me was I used to drive by Taco Bell like all the time, and I would just be like so tempted to drive there, and eventually I tried to start bringing my own food. So it was like, if I bring my own food to work, then I won't stop on the way at Taco Bell, because I knew I had something that I didn't want to go to waste that I already paid for. So stuff like that. There's tons of apps out there. You don't have to be a calorie counter. I really hate that theory and idea, but I do think that you have to become aware of your eating habits before you can make changes to them. So let me see. Actually, really quick, I'm going to show you guys this food. Flipping the camera. And yes. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys what I have made up a little bit here. I did my board again, and I actually am quite impressed. I wrote backwards really well. So it's a mindful practice, the whole thing. You know, eating is a part of our health, and it's a mind, body, and soul thing. So you have to kind of become at one with all of it. So if you guys are interested, if anybody's interested, this little journal can kind of give you an outline of what things you could look for. So how you feel before and after you eat, documenting that, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, how you feel after you eat. And I even have like this little wheel of emotions that you might be experiencing. Because when I did this project, I felt like, I was like, well, I don't know what I feel. I just feel like I want to eat something, you know? And this kind of gives you a better idea of something to think of. So there's that. And then too, you know, documenting how hungry are you before you eat? Are you waiting till you're starving and your stomach is growling at you before you go and get something? Chances are if you wait that long, then you're going to be ravaging food. And if you wait till you're, you know, semi-hungry, where you start to feel it, but you're not starving yet, you'll likely eat what you need and then step away when you need to. So those are some things to be aware of. I also have like a little hunger scale. So you guys can come up with an idea of kind of where you're at with it and then go from there. And then afterwards, question, do I feel full? How full am I? Am I gorged to the point where I can't move anymore? Or do you still feel energized that you can complete the rest of your day? You know, I talk to a lot of guys at work and they always say, oh, I hate eating lunch because I always feel so weighed down. Well, that's because they're eating burgers and burritos and junk food on their lunch break and they work in the sun and that takes a lot of energy to digest. So there is all that. And then I also have this list of different types of eaters that some of us can be. And sometimes we're multiple types of eaters. So there's the careful eater. It looks like they're the perfect eater. They want to eat everything healthy and perfect. But at the end of the day, in their minds, they're really just nitpicking every single thing that they eat, which is annoying. Nobody wants to really, truly live that way. You really want to be in a way that you enjoy food, you eat whatever you want, and it's enjoyable to you. But there's also unconscious eaters on many levels. So you could unconsciously be eating while you're watching TV, while you're working, while you're driving, whatever you're doing. Then there's the on-the-go people who are always just moving around. I can't eat anything, I don't have time, just swing by and get this. There's the people, like I was saying earlier, who just eat because they have to finish the food on their plates. These are habits that we have to break, guys. There's people who eat because the price of food drives them. So they're like, oh, the dollar menu, let's go get that. You know, these are not good foods to start eating. There's the professional dieter, people who are perpetually on a diet. Who really wants to live that way? I mean, seriously, it just sounds awful. It sounds like you're constantly in an up and down way, and when you really just want to figure out the way for it to be a steady way about you. So, initially and inevitably, all these tips that I'm giving you guys, I want you to eventually become an intuitive eater where you can eat anything you want, enjoy what you're eating, and have no guilt about it. You're allowed to eat and enjoy everything. And I think being mindful too is a big deal. I used to be that type of person who was always on the go, moving around, trying to multitask and eat. And I just need to sit down, let things slow down for a minute and eat and enjoy my food and feel the textures and taste the flavors and all that stuff. So that's what becoming aware is. You know, ask yourself these questions, write them down, document it, because if you write it down, you're making a conscious effort to do it. So I say, you know, since you guys started working on your goals last week, this week, become conscious of your habits. That way you can make changes to them. So anyway, that is kind of a wrap. Please message me if you're interested in getting any of these worksheets that I made, and then leave any comments below. I appreciate you guys for showing up. Thank you.